If you placed our current scoreboard on the ground and put a basketball hoop on each end, you could play basketball on a court that is slightly larger than an NBA court. Should our scoreboards be 4K? Should they be larger? If you can believe it, Target Field is now more than 10 years old, and much of our broadcast infrastructure is end of life. A significant shift in broadcast technology is disrupting the industry. We are in the process of planning and budgeting for a refresh of display and control systems, all central parts to the fan experience. We are finding that this technology shift is happening so rapidly that many recently constructed venues are already behind current standards and trends. Visual acuity relates that your eyeballs can't tell the difference between 1080p, 4K, 8K, or greater resolutions at distances beyond 20 feet. We may choose to produce in 4K or greater, but we probably should not invest in 4K scoreboards. We will focus on enabling HDR because of its much wider color palette, which will present to your eye the shades of outdoor baseball with natural color and clarity. The current broadcasting world is future limited by the fixed capacity of routing single-sourced content with simple but reliable HD SDI cables. SMPTE 2110 is the standard for a next-generation production ecosystem, which extends the video and audio source and destination universe through IP. SMPTE 2110 promises to be capable of adjusting to future change and demand. Think of it as a young open-source platform where multiple manufacturers are working to innovate and compete on the curve of industry adoption. The standard is beautifully format agnostic. Once configured, a camera or other device participates by simply passing metadata to the ecosystem. It also requires that Korea broadcast engineers work to understand high-performing IP networks typically used by IT. NDI allows for distributed control and consumption flexibility using lower bandwidths. Function of NDI don't need to occupy the same facility. This allows us to consider NDI to organize video assets that we control between all of our facilities.
Spectrum dependence. Appetite for more bandwidth. The wave resonance.
Think of Target Field as a multimedia sentient being brought to life by robust converged cellular and Wi-Fi networks, which are utilized by state-of-the-art systems for the benefit of 40,000 of your closest friends, a physical manifestation of multiple social networks, all sitting right next to each other. We believe in continuity, so we participate with many other teams in something called MLB Wi-Fi Consortium. In concert with MLB's Wi-Fi team, we leverage a common, highly engineered template enabling reporting standards throughout the league. MLB engineers visited us just last week to start our third Wi-Fi implementation upgrade since 2011. Target Field is one of 5 ballparks slotted to install Wi-Fi 6 in 2021. Wi-Fi 6 is perfect for ballparks. The control advancements may allow us to deliver unique vantage points and tie sophisticated statistical systems with augmented reality experiences. Wi-Fi 6 is jazz. Before Wi-Fi 6, your device needed to wait for your time slot to play. An access point could only talk to one device in any one time slot. With Wi-Fi 6, your device can play in a lively jazz band where everyone can syncopate together. Among many other features, Wi-Fi 6 offers big power relief for your device's battery. BSS coloring allows devices to fine-tune color-coordinated power relationships with closest access points. 5G is the newest and fastest lane on the cellular freeway. If your phone can drive the 5G spectrum, it will likely drive on slower lanes until it notices the fast lane opening. Due to the way that 5G waves resonate, carriers continue to develop how their highway will work. Road construction requires a combination of millimeter wave, small cell, massive MIMO, beamforming, and full duplex techniques. We want our fans to drive on the fast lanes. It is possible that Target Field will utilize independent millimeter wave antennas to deliver line-of-sight 5G to our seating bowl in 2021. CBRS could be a gift to Target Field operations. Essentially, we could construct our own private LTE network for many operational needs. Perhaps it should be on your opportunity radar.
Opportunity. Young minds are our future state. What role will you play?
Walking on the moon. Your steps are what you take. Walking on the moon.
I think the biggest way that this Sparks experience has influenced me is just like kind of revealing the possibilities. Like I had no idea that there was so much technology integrated into baseball and like just a stadium. And it kind of made me realize that you can use technology in like infinitely many ways in like every application.
I feel like other companies should definitely participate in the Sparks experience. It not only helps me and helps all the other girls, but if there's more programs like this, more girls can do it and more girls can be interested in computer science careers.
Yay, that was so awesome. Thank you so much for making that, John and Shelly. Great job. Well, good morning, everybody. I am your MC for today. I'm Katie Hendrickson. You may recognize me from a lot of the Sparks events. I help coordinate a lot of those. And today I have the honor of being your MC. So a quick run of show for the day. We're gonna start off with having our keynote with our two panelists, Rachel and Andrea. Then after that, we're going to go into 3 breakout sessions where you'll get to hear about application development, business data, and infrastructure and security at the Twins. So that's going to be amazing. Then after that, we have an amazing panel about the importance of networking. And then finally, we're going to end the day talking all about you all, because that's what we're here today for, is recognizing how awesome you are and all the work you've done. So yeah, it's going to be an awesome day. So we get to get started with our amazing panel. So Andrea and Rachel, would you be able to introduce yourself? We can start with Andrea.
Good morning, everyone. It's a pleasure and honor to be here with you today. My name is Andrea Markstrom. I'm the Chief Information Officer for the law firm of Taft, Stettinius, and Hollister. Taft is a law firm. We've got 13 offices around the country with over 650 attorneys. And I'm located in Minneapolis. Again, thank you for having me, and congratulations to all the rising stars. You're doing amazing work, and also an amazing program, the Aspirations in Computing, very important, and congratulations.
Rachel, go ahead.
Good morning. My name is Rachel Lockett. I'm the Chief Information Officer for the Pollad Companies. And the Pollad Companies is the parent company or the holding company that actually owns the Minnesota Twins, as well as several other businesses, commercial real estate, custom engineering, manufacturing firms, some car dealerships, a lot of businesses around the Twin Cities mostly. So I'm very honored to be here, and congratulations to all the rising stars, and looking forward to spending the morning with you.
Yay! Oh my goodness. So as you can tell, Andrea and Rachel are very accomplished women and super great role models. So throughout the morning, please post questions in the chat. I am ready to ask questions, but I know you all have way better questions than I do. So please start posting them in the chat, and as you think of them too. So, but I will start off with one question. So Rachel, let's start with you. How did you get into technology, and what was like the beginning experience? Like, where was your mind at when you were in high school?
Well, actually, when I was in high school, I wanted to be an actress. I was always in the plays and the theater department in my high school, and that's what I was going to do. But as I got to the end of my senior year, I just started thinking about, maybe wanting to do something a little more practical, something that, had a greater statistical probability of, being able to live in a house, drive a car, eat food, things like that. And so I took a look at some of the things I was, that I also did well, and realized that I, had an aptitude for working with computers. In a lot of my classes, it was still early, and we were, just doing research papers on the computer and things like that. And so I decided, I changed my mind and decided to pursue technology for college and for my career. So I pretty quickly, I was working as a waitress, but a friend there had put me in touch with a company that was looking for someone to load data onto their server. I thought it was a part-time job on nights and weekends. And I thought, well, I can do that, and that'll at least give me a little bit of experience. And so I interviewed with this company a couple of times. And what happened was, I think the folks there saw more potential in me than I knew was there. And the next thing I knew, they were offering me a job as a programmer. And I had written code in, some of my college classes, but I was pretty surprised to be offered this job as a programmer. But I thought, well, what the heck, I'll give it a shot. And I'll tell you guys, honestly, I went home almost every day for the first few weeks. And I was 20 years old at the time, but I would go home and tell my parents and my boyfriend and everybody that, I don't want you guys to be disappointed, because tomorrow they're going to realize that I have no idea what I'm doing and they're going to fire me. So I just want you to be prepared. I don't want you to be disappointed. I ended up working for that company for 14 years. And when I left, I was the director of information technology for 7 of their businesses. So it was really a fun start. I would say I was very blessed to have a lot of people who were willing to teach and mentor me. And like I said, saw more potential in me than I knew was there.
Oh, I love your story so much. It's so fascinating too to see like how your story isn't just like one straight line, and how there's really a lot of twists and turns. And also, yeah, I feel that with the programming, like, yeah, sometimes you just don't feel like you know what you're doing, but that is how it goes. Andrea, can you tell us a little bit about like your tech journey from high school to now?
Yeah, it's similar to Rachel. I was going down that art type of path, and in high school, I had my sights set on moving to New York and dancing professionally with a modern dance company. So that future technology career was definitely not in my sights at that time. While I was in high school, I participated in a program called Odyssey. And 2 hours a day, there was a group of people where we had the opportunity to problem solve. And we were presented with different problems that kind of liken the program to our robotics programs that we have today. And so presented with problems, and we needed to creatively solve those and use the technology that we had at the time. And that was really kind of my start to being curious about problem solving, as well as how to work with a group of people to get a project accomplished. So, and that has, that working with a group of people and a team and curiosity and creatively solving a problem kind of has stayed with me throughout the whole journey of my career. But so that in high school was really important, and I really appreciated being a part of that. After high school, I took a little bit of time off, again, thinking my career was going to be in dance. And at that time, I was an apprentice with a dance company in Minneapolis, and a woman slightly older than me, she broke her foot and did not have a career path to turn back to, didn't have a college career. So that kind of opened my eyes to say, okay, first I need a backup plan. If this were to ever happen to me, what would I do? So I enrolled in the University of Minnesota and still danced while participated in and pursuing a degree in international relations. And at the University of Minnesota, they were offering internship programs. And I thought this would be a great opportunity to, if I was accepted, to just learn about what it's like in a large corporate environment, see if that is even, the structure, the type of environment I would like to be in. And I was accepted, and my internship was at Target Corporation. It was a 3-month internship, and it was helping out with their United Way campaign. And I thought, all right, I have 3 months to learn everything I can about Target and how it works. And so I started setting up informational interviews with people, people on the business side as well in the technology side, just to learn about their careers. And also to just get my name out there as well. In addition, outside of my internship responsibilities, I started volunteering for everything that I could and just taking on additional responsibilities. And I'm just grateful I did both of those things at that time and not realizing the positive impact it was going to have. At the end of my internship, my manager at that time came to me and said, listen, you did a really great job during your internship, but most importantly, what you did was extend yourself, went beyond your internship responsibilities, and started creating already, maintaining really great relationships, and we'd like to offer you a full-time position. And that position was as an internal communications coordinator. And part of that was also a coordinator for, at that time, video conference was just being introduced. So that's going to date me a little bit here, but her words to me at that time, and I'll never forget, and grateful she took a chance on me, was, I know you don't have the experience managing or coordinating a video conference environment, but I have trust and faith that you can learn, and you've already shown me that you can show initiative and that, being self-driven. So she took a chance, and that's really my entry point into the technology organization. When I started learning the video conference technology, I wanted to learn, I was just really interested and curious about how all the pieces together behind the scenes worked. And so learned everything I could and did my homework, and again, met with as many people who were setting that up behind the scenes so I could learn that. At that time, the network grew to the point where it was large enough to go into the technology organization. So we moved from internal communications over to technology, and I was grateful because that was, I thought, my time to really be this deep technical expert. And so I started taking all these voice and network courses, and landed a role in Target as a voice and network engineer. And I learned quickly thereafter that, what my passion wasn't connecting and doing all the architectural details behind the scenes, but it was really about organizing people and managing a plan. So I went to my manager at that time and said, you know what, I love Target, but I don't know if this is the right fit for me. And here's the great thing about IT. There are so many career paths that you can take. And so if you go down one path and you find that it might not be a fit for you, which I learned at that time was, if I'm true to my authentic self, I can't fit that, what's the saying, round peg and square, or round circle and square peg hole. It just didn't fit. And the great thing about being at Target was there were so many opportunities to move around. And so she, my manager at that time, moved me into a project manager role. And that's really where I found my true passion, and my career took off from that point. So throughout my time at Target, which was about 13 years, I led and managed a number of technology teams for the organization, and just grateful to that people took a chance on me, and also grateful to have had the opportunity to learn from some amazing, brilliant technical architects. So that's really how I got started, and it's really about forming relationships And that's kind of has stuck with me throughout my entire career.
Andrea, that was so great. Yeah, the importance of relationship building in your story was just so like clear, and it was really fun to see that, because I think sometimes, at least when I was in high school, I did not realize how important relationships really are when you are in the career world. So thank you for sharing. We got a question in the chat from Natalie. And she wants to ask to both of you, did you have a teacher or adult that pushed you or really inspired you to continue with technology? And does it help to have lots of connections in the field? So Rachel, do you want to start us off with that one?
Sure, I would say yes, absolutely, it helps. I was very, very lucky. I had more than one. There were so many people that I worked with early on in my career, and still today, who inspired me to continue and to, do more than I thought I was capable of doing. It's incredibly important to recognize those mentors, those people who want to help. There are so many people who want to help you be successful. Take advantage of that. One thing I would suggest is, when you're early in your career, never sit at your desk and eat lunch alone. Always take the opportunity to, use that time to get to know other people, peers, maybe people above you, learn from them, from their stories. You could just be inspired by their path and by their story, or you could, really learn some very valuable skills, or they may be a connection who can help you in your future. So absolutely, it's very valuable.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. No, that was amazing. Andrea, do you want to touch on that at all? And also one question I had too is like, how do you find a mentor?
First, the aspect of and the importance of mentors, I can't express enough. Just the importance of extending yourself, and don't be afraid to set up those informational meetings, because that first is going to show that that self-initiative, and that you want to learn more, and that you're a continuous learner. But it's also going to allow people to recognize who you are and your strengths, and it just opens the door for opportunities. I too have been very lucky throughout my whole career to have mentors at different capacities come into my life, and they've served as career angels. I will say one individual outside of Target at that time, he came to me and said, I think you need to meet with this individual as the CIO at a law firm, and need to meet with him to just extend your network. And oh, by the way, he's looking to expand his team. So I was not thinking about leaving Target at all, but I thought, I've got a number of mentors within Target, but I didn't have mentors outside of Target. So that was important for me to get a different perspective on a whole different type of industry. Well, what that one connection did for me, really trajectory my career. I met with the CIO at this law firm by the name of Faegre, and after about 2 hours of meeting with him, not only did I want to work for him, but I wanted that opportunity. It was a great opportunity that he was offering. I would never have been sitting in that chair if it wasn't for that individual that connected that conversation for me. And what I learned later is that person who set that up for me, which I'm just going to mention, his name is Nick Hernandez. Probably many of you in this room know him. He's amazing, an amazing connector in our community. But he really set the stage and helped me succeed in that conversation. And that's what mentors and sponsors can do for you. They can talk and help you succeed even when you're not in the room. I think when I think about mentors, and when I think about a career and my career, and I'd like, I extend this, to you, is when you think about your career down the path, you are the CEO of your career. And think about it's you, you're sitting at your own boardroom table, and own your career. And around that boardroom table, you're going to have your own personal board of advisors. And so surround yourself with those people that are going to help support you, and ask them for their help. It took me years to figure out it's okay to ask for help, and that's not a weakness. And asking them, and also being very intentional and authentic with those relationships is so important. The other piece I'll note is it's got to be mutual. So not only are they helping you, but then, don't forget to ask, how can you help them, or what can you do for them? It really opens doors, and will throughout your entire career.
Yeah, I love Andrea's advice about being the CEO of your own career and having that personal board of advisors. I would echo that absolutely. And I see Russell posted a question in the chat asking, if someone is held back by lack of confidence, what do you recommend to get past this over and over again? So I thought I'd respond to that one. It's very common. You guys have probably heard of the term imposter syndrome. It's very common especially for women, I think, to feel like, oh, I don't belong here. I can't do this. I'm not capable of this. I'm an imposter, right? It's very common, and I've dealt with it. I know I've heard Andrea say she has as well. It's just something that happens. And what we all need to do is recognize that, see those thoughts when they come in, and when that kind of tape loop is playing in your head, telling you that story that oh, you don't have the experience for this, you haven't earned this, or whatever, is to just see it for what it is and turn it off. And you can even kind of laugh at that thought and chuckle as it goes by, and say, I'm not going to fall for that, because it's not true. You're very capable. You have so much potential, and you will be able to do things that you don't know how to do today. You've never done before, but you will be able to do it and figure it out, and succeed. And I would say to have some more practical advice on how to overcome that lack of confidence, leverage that same network that we've been talking about, that personal board of directors that Andrea mentioned. Talk to them, tell them, I have a group of people that I think of also as kind of either my fact checkers, or, the people that I'm just going to run this by them, because even the fact of saying it out loud to that person will help me process whether this is really, a good idea or the right thing to do. And so often they'll validate you, and they'll say, yeah, you're absolutely on the right track. Go with that. And that's one way to help build your confidence, and then walk into the meeting or the boardroom or whatever it is with a little bit more confidence, because you've already run it by a couple of other people and you got that positive feedback and validation. So leverage your network in that way. And then just, quick little story to put a point on it. I can remember, again, early in my career, but this still continues. I remember being 21, and my company trusted me to go into these meetings with executives, high level executives from companies like IBM, to talk about their marketing database. And I remember just sitting there thinking, who thought it was a good idea to let me in this room? But if I just laugh at that and kind of appreciate the thought and the irony, the humor in it, and then go, well, I did it, I was successful, it worked. And then build on that the next time I'm called in to go into a meeting or something that I might feel a little nervous about. Just remember all those past accomplishments, because you've gotten to where you are for a reason.
Yeah, I absolutely would echo that, Rachel, that it's so important to have to just reflect every once in a while on all the great work that you've done and the work that's gotten you to the point where you're at. many times, especially early in my career, that I did not have the confidence to speak up in a meeting. And, at that time, there were not many women in IT. And so, we've made great strides on that, which is fantastic. But, maybe being the only one or two women sitting around a table, and you've got these amazing, brilliant people around you, it's intimidating sometimes to speak up. And I met with a mentor at my time, or during that time, to say, you know what, I've got these great ideas, but I'm really nervous about speaking up, because I don't know if I'm going to come off, if I'm going to sound stupid, or if I'm going to, I just don't have the technical expertise that they do. Well, two things I would say is, one, just challenge yourself every meeting. This is what I did. Challenge yourself every meeting to speak up once, and then the next meeting, speak up twice. And the more that you practice, you're just going to you'll start to be comfortable. So it's that phrase of being comfortable, being uncomfortable. And the other thing that it took some time for me to realize, but again, having that support of mentors, was my voice matters, and my perspective matters. And we bring a different perspective than, my colleague who's designing networks behind the scenes. I can bring the voice of the client or the voice of the customer. And so realizing that surrounding around that table, there is a number of different perspectives, and each perspective is so important. And my perspective and my voice is important. So it took time to just get myself out there and try. But the more that I did that, the more comfortable I became. And I also really understood my value, because you are all worth it, and you all have value and a great perspective to bring. So sometimes I had to write myself little notes to remind myself of that. But then again, over time, you're going to just become comfortable with that. So I invite you to not be afraid to ask for help and to ask for ideas on how to do that.
That was so amazing. That was so empowering. Thank you for saying all of that. So as you all know, our theme is boundless possibilities. What is your boundless possibility, and what does that mean to you? I'll kick it over to Rachel.
Let's see. We didn't practice that question, so I'm thinking about what that means to me. I think, well, as I told you in my little introduction, one of the things, kind of the hallmark of my career, is other people seeing potential in me that I didn't know was there, and I have tried to then turn around and give that back, and help other people realize the potential in themselves that they didn't know was there. And so I think that's kind of what it means for me is, we all are, we come into this world with just this completely limitless potential. And, we were all given different talents and strengths, and we can turn those into whatever we want. And I think I'll use this opportunity to kind of talk a little bit about education, because you guys are all in high school, and so you're probably thinking about, what's going to come after high school. And a lot of times people will tell you, oh, you need to pursue your passion, and you need to, do something that you love, and then you'll never work a day in your life. And that's great advice. And that can, help. That can be one input into making a decision about, where you want to go with your future, or how you want to shape that. I would add a different dimension to that, and this is based on my experience. I told you that I wanted to be an actress, and then I changed my mind, and I decided not to pursue that path. And as I made the decision to pursue technology, one of the things I tried to do was kind of keep as many options open as possible. So not getting really, narrowly focused on one thing that would lock me in, but sort of keep that funnel wide open so that I could take advantage of any opportunities that came along. And as I've done that, So remember, I had that background in theater from high school, and I had that passion for being on stage and presenting and being very expressive. And I think I've allowed that to be my differentiating factor in my career. Because let's face it, you guys know that in IT, you're familiar with Dilbert, maybe the comic strip, or maybe not. I don't know. I might be dating myself there. No, I'm kidding. Actually, people are shaking their heads. No, I'm sorry. Thank you, Hiroko, for letting me know my reference was off point there. A lot of times, IT people are seen as kind of geeky, and they're heads down programming and stuff. But what I've done is I've been able to leverage that passion that I had to differentiate myself. I get told all the time that I'm not like other IT people. I love doing presentations. I love talking to the board. I love doing, technical sales pitches. I love doing things like this. And I think that's what makes me a little different, and has helped me kind of set myself apart in my field. And so, consider those kinds of possibilities. You don't just have to, stay pigeonholed into one area or one direction. Keep your funnel wide open. Keep your eyes open to all different kinds of opportunities. And when something comes along and someone says, hey, I think you might be good at this, or would you want to give this a try? Turn off that little tape loop that tells you, oh, that's not you. You can't do that. That's not you don't have experience with that. That's not your background. Turn that off. Shut it off. If you are interested and you think that could be fun, give it a shot. You'll figure it out. So I think that's what boundless possibilities means to me.
Oh, that was so amazing. Yes, I totally agree with you. One thing too, you kind of said about like standing out, not being like a typical tech person. I know I've had that experience a lot too. And like at first it was really hard for me because I felt like I didn't fit in. But then like I realized there's a lot of opportunities for when you aren't fitting in, you actually stand out, and there's a lot of opportunities there. So that sparked that idea. But yeah, thanks, Rachel. Andrea, what's your boundless possibility?
Well, first, absolutely, I can relate if being not that typical IT person, and to have been told, you've got this ability to kind of connect the dots from the IT side to the business side, or to talk non-techie talk, and that's it's been an interesting comment, and I think about that because so often we can go down a path and get mired down into the details and forget to look up and out. And when I think about that, that's what I think about is within IT, you've got so many possibilities and so many different career paths and different avenues that you can go down. And when I think about if you're in a role in a company and somebody presents you, like Rachel said, somebody says, hey, what about this? That is your door to try something new. Here's the great part about being in IT. You can go from industry to industry. IT is in absolutely every industry. So, and case in point, I was in retail. I worked for Target for about 13 years and moved into the legal vertical. And when I started working at a law firm, I was scared to death because I knew, I was not an attorney, and I did not know anything about legal at all. But what helped me get through that was I call going on listening campaigns. So I meet with as many people as possible, and I will say, listen, I don't know, and it's okay to say you don't know. So don't ever feel like you can't say that. And in fact, you're going to gain more respect if you say I don't know versus try to make up an answer. But when I went on those listening campaigns, I just opened the door for a conversation first to get to know them and get to know them to get to know me, but also how my organization could help them and what we could do to improve. It just opens the doors to possibilities. The other piece that I think about when, Katie, when you mentioned boundless possibilities, I would just say, go for it. And, you know, you're not going to know unless you ask. So if you don't go for what you want, you're never going to have it. And, you know, map out what you don't have to map out your entire career plan now, but where would you like to be 3 years from now? You know, start that 3-year roadmap and ask for help along the way. But you also, you know, if you don't ask, that answer is always going to be no. So don't be afraid to ask. And it's, I always think about the phrase, the question isn't who is going to let me, but who's going to stop me. So having that courage to just know that I might not have all that expertise, but I'm going to do my homework. I'm going to work hard and I'm going to learn it. And over time, you will be that expert. And people will see you as that expert. So you're going to get there. But if you don't ask, you're never going to have it. So I would encourage all of that, or all of you, to just take those risks. And when those doors open, you know, first to really understand and know who you are and be authentic to yourself, and then be open to growing yourself. And that's when doors will open for you.
Yes. That was amazing, Andrea and Rachel. Thank you so much. So Natalie has another awesome question. So besides technology, arts, what is another element of STEAM that you find interesting or have found interesting in the past? Also, I wanted to mention we have about 10 more minutes of the panel. So if you have any questions you haven't put in the chat yet, feel free to put those in now. So yeah, Rachel, you can go ahead and answer that one.
Yeah, I loved your question, Natalie, because actually I would say, I'm going to confess, I did not love math and science. Engineering, interesting to me. I love problem solving. That's probably the thing I like most about technology, is using it to solve a problem. But I was not a hardcore math and science person. I did well enough in them, but I just didn't love it. And so you don't have to, that doesn't have to be your passion. You don't have to be that, really hardcore, deep, math person to get into technology. It's absolutely not a requirement. And I think, Andrea and I both, we really pursued more of the human side, the leadership side. I did my time as a programmer, loved it, loved the thrill of, hitting the button and it does what you want it to do and getting that little jazz out of it. But now I so much more enjoy working with people and leading them and helping other people to realize their potential. So that's what I would say is, don't worry if you're not deep into all of the aspects of STEM. You can still have a very rewarding career in technology.
I agree completely. I too was not into math or science in high school. I loved communications. Those were more the classes that interested me. And also I'll say that in college as well, writing, communications, putting together plans. And I was really always attracted to courses that were around creative problem solving. And there are, so many aspects to what I would call the soft skills part of a career that you can learn through some of those courses, and they are going to help you be extremely successful in a technology career. So, I mean, you can take, and again, I can't say enough about just try different career paths and take on those different jobs and different responsibilities, because you might be surprised about what you find that really interests you. But starting out, my interest, same, was not deep in math or science, is the communication side and building a team, and you can be very successful going down that path.
Yeah. We just got 3 really great questions. Katie, can I go ahead and take a shot at them?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm going to go backwards. So Caroline, thank you so much. I don't think we did mention, she asked, what was your college degree? I actually started out, I'll kind of go back to my initial story. I mentioned that I had switched from acting. I was accepted to a few different theater departments at colleges in the Midwest. And I changed my mind at the last minute. I actually went to my local community college and signed up for all the computer classes I could take. And I completed my associate's degree first, and then started working full time right after getting my associate's degree at that programmer job I mentioned. And then after that, I actually leveraged my company's tuition reimbursement to finish my bachelor's degree in computer information systems. And I tell that story because, you know, you might have a lot of people telling you need to go to a, you know, 4-year college. And yeah, that's great. If that's, you know, the right path for you, absolutely. But just letting you know, there is another route, because I did that associate's degree first and then leveraged my company's tuition reimbursement to complete my bachelor's degree. It took a little longer, but I graduated with no college debt, and the diploma looks the same. So it's another option. It's another way to go. So that's a great question, Caroline. Thank you. Hiroko, what brought me to speak to you today? My wonderful friends, John Avenson and Shelly Andrew at the Twins, are the ones who put me in touch with this group. But I have participated and done some work with the Aspirations in Computing group in the past, and I love doing this kind of thing. So I'm very happy to be up at 8:45 on a Saturday morning to be able to do something like this. And then lastly, Nalani, your question about incorporating your values with your work and life. Yeah, that's very important. And I found that, being in leadership really gives you the opportunity to do that. So if you feel like management and leadership is something you might be interested in, it's a great way to be able to demonstrate your values as you're really helping other people. You'll hear the concept, as you go through life, of being a servant leader. And I think that's really what connects with my values, is every opportunity I have to do that. So, Andrea, I'll pass it over to you.
Yeah, thanks, Rachel. I'll start at the top, and just to continue along the value question, it's really digging deep and knowing who you are, and similar to what Rachel said, that servant leadership, that's always just been an interest, and really me being true to myself is helping other people and extending wherever I can, if it's either through volunteerism or in a mentorship program, or helping my team and recognize my team and really raise them up so they can, succeed in their career path. I've been lucky to be in roles that allow, those values that I have, and those are values of the organizations that I've been a part of. So I would just say, finding that culture of an organization that fits with your values is so important. And also, I'm a mother. I have 3 children, 3 teenage children, and I'm grateful for the opportunities with the organizations that I've worked in, that they allow, that flexibility that I need. Sometimes you're going to have to leave for a doctor's appointment, or I've always thought I never want to miss, my son's first soccer game. I mean, that's important to me. And being a part of a culture and an organization that supports that, you can do it. You can have that all. You can have a family. You can have, a great career path. And it's just really understanding what's true to you, and making sure that that culture supports that. What brought you to speak to us today? Same. I'm grateful that Shelly and John invited me to join you, and I applaud you for where you're at. I mean, again, you're doing amazing work through this program, and I just encourage you to continue. And finally, my degree, as I mentioned earlier, I took a little time off because I thought dance was my career. And then learning that I needed that backup plan, I went to the University of Minnesota. I first started kind of going down again that art, or left side or right side of the brain. I thought, okay, an architect, that's going to be my path. And I I took a few classes going down the architectural path, and then started taking some communications courses. And my degree was in international relations. So all along the lines of communications and team building.
Nice. I'd love to echo what Andrea said about, I'm also a mother of 3 teenagers, and she's absolutely right. You can do it all. People will always tell you can be anything you want to be. I like to tell my kids, you can be everything you want to be. Life is about choices, and you do have to, make some choices and sacrifices, but don't feel like you have to choose one or the other. You can do both, and you can do both well. It just takes some prioritization and managing the logistics, and definitely finding an organization that is supportive. And you guys are actually very lucky. You're, coming up and going to be, going into the workforce at a time when there's even more attention to making sure that, especially women are able to achieve that work-life balance. I remember, I'll get a little detailed here, but when I was having children and working at the same time, it was a little tougher. Nothing like it was, 20 years before me. I was very lucky as well. But, there were some people who said, well, we're not going to give you a raise this time around because we were gone on maternity leave for 3 months. Well, that's not okay. But you guys are very lucky. You will have even more support than we did, but keep pushing, keep proving that it can be done to make things even easier for the generation that comes after you. Okay? Do that for me, please.
Yes, that's so wonderful. Yeah, no, it's so amazing, like all the progress we're making, but there's still so much more progress that needs to be made. So I think we have time for one more question. And I actually really like the question in the chat. So if you could give advice to your past self, what would it be?
Well, I would advise my past self, I would simply try and learn a couple of lessons earlier. There are some things that it just took me too long to figure out. I'll just pick one of them in the interest of time. The colleagues that are my peers, those are my teammates, and not the competition, and not, someone that I need to be better than or get more budget funding, than them. They're my teammates. I have the honor of being the leader of a team, and I'm the coach of that team, for anyone that likes sports analogies, since, the Twins are hosting us. So I get to be the coach of that team, but I have to remember I'm a teammate with my peers, with the other department heads, the other people on my team, and not look at them as the competition. That's something that I would go back and tell my former self, and that would save me a little heartache early in my career.
Yeah, there's I could go on for an hour about this. What I wish I would have done earlier and different, and a couple come to mind that I spent a lot of time reflecting on later, and that is, if you fail, it's okay, and you always learn through those failures. So, for example, if a project doesn't go well, what did you learn from it? And don't dwell on it. Move on. Learn, move on, and I always now call it fail forward. So don't be afraid of failure. There are many projects, and there will be projects that you're involved in that don't go well, and just learn from them and move on. The other piece is to, when you go through your career, and this has happened to me several times, where I've either wanted that role or wanted that project, and the answer was no. Well, don't take no as no. It's maybe just not right now. So turning that no into a yes So then what do you have to do to get that to next time when you go for that, that's going to be a yes. And, you know, when I started receiving like my first no's, I got really discouraged. And again, it was through, you know, my mentors who kind of helped get that self-talk out of my head, but also to say, all right, then do your homework. And what do you need to do to prepare? And so next time around, that no turns into a yes. So I just encourage, don't get discouraged along that path. Turn that around. So those are a couple things that I wish I would have just had that advice earlier.
Oh my goodness, that was such a great way to end the panel. Thank you so much. Let's give them a round of applause in the chat and thank yous and everything. But thank you so much for your time, Rachel and Andrea. I got so much out of just listening to you all. So
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
yes.
Have a
well,
fun day today.
Yes, I know. We have a very fun activity planned next. So we're going to go into breakout rooms now. So what we can do is, I guess, let's give everybody a like 2-minute break. So stand up, get water, but be back here at 9.
Maybe
Find some peanuts and cracker jacks. I don't care. Let me root for the home team. If they don't win, it's a shame. Cause it's 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out of the old ball game.
Good job, everybody. I am not personally a singer, so I won't be in John's play for the next time. But that was fun.
I didn't hear too many voices.
I know. Do we have to do it again, or do you think we're good? Anyway, well, I'll pass it over to John and Varda. Well, I wanted to introduce John a little bit too. John was a huge part in putting this event together, and we're so grateful. He's the vice president of the Twins and has 28 years of experience and is just super involved. Shelly was telling me about everything he does and how amazing it is. And we're just so impressed with your servant leadership, John. We just wanted to say thank you for helping with today's event and everything. So, and he was the 2018 CIO of the year, which was so cool. Like, so anyway, I will pass it over to the panel now.
Awesome. Well, thank you for that, but really the credit for our relationship with Aspirations in Computing and Sparks and Boundless Possibilities and the Rising Stars has to do with Shelly Andrews' environment engagement. And we really, as an organization, kind of ride her coattails related to how we, the Twins, can use our voice to help and hopefully inspire young minds in the future, even though it has to do with baseball. Hopefully you saw today that, or experienced today that, technology skill sets can provide all kinds of different pathways, even if it is related to baseball. I think of technology skill sets as, and then David Kingsbury hopefully is also on here, Katie, in our panel. I don't know if David is here. There he is. All right, awesome. So, so when I think about technology skill sets, and I know, number one, you guys, the Rising Stars today are incredible. I've read your bios in the program, and if I was somebody like you in high school, who knows where I would be today. But I think hopefully today you're realizing just how the fundamentals of technology skill sets or science skill sets or STEAM can be such a common denominator in your life, meaning that with those skills, you're opening yourself up to boundless possibilities because that's what you're starting with. And to see the young women today and read your bios and understand where you're coming from is really encouraging, especially for this group that is here with you today. So we're going to do the couple of things that I noticed, with Rachel and Andrea's conversation this morning. I wrote down: be brave with your curiosity, use your voice, and then I added in build your common denominator skills through STEM, and all of that you guys are doing here today by participating. This group, we're transitioning from a lot of technology slogan, a lot of slang, a lot of acronyms that you probably were like, okay, what is all this stuff in these breakout sessions? We had a lot of deep conversations, very quick conversations about data, about cybersecurity, and about application programming and how we're doing that here at the Twins. And there was a lot of language in those sessions that you may not be familiar with. So when you think about language, just because you don't know what it means, hopefully your curiosity is being perked up by hearing those conversations, even though you may not fully understand everything that was discussed. So, one location where you can associate or understand language or get more familiar with language or find some opportunities is in networking. And the panel that is in front of you today is going to talk about the importance of networking, of bringing your personal brand out. And so the folks that are here today with me are part of a small networking group that we collaborate on as peers that we call the Large Venue Tech Collective. And I don't know that we voted on that word yet or developed a logo yet, but that's who we are. And so I want to briefly introduce maybe Jeanette, briefly talk about who you are, and then we'll pass it to Chris and Varda and David.
Sounds great. Thank you, John. And really excited to be here with all of you this morning. So thank you for your time and huge accomplishments that you all have done thus far already. I can't wait to see where you're going to go. So my name is Jeanette Smirka. Right now I am the VP of IT out at SoFi Stadium in Hollywood Park out in LA. So I'm here now, but I've only been here for about 2 years. Prior to that, I headed up the IT team at Mall of America, and I was there for 20 some years. So, and it's just been great, like John mentioned, to be able to connect with my peers here on this panel and be able to share some of the things that the challenges that we're facing together. I'll hand it off to Chris.
Thanks, Jeanette, and thanks to John and others from the Twins who helped put this together, and Jeanette and Varda and David. I hope we're gonna have a good conversation. I really like these folks, and I learned a lot from them as we fought through some of the real challenges of the pandemic in this last year, and I was honored to join this large venue group. My job is Chief Information Officer at Mayo Clinic. I've been there for about 8 years. And we'll probably get into it later, but I got into both technology and healthcare accidentally. And frankly, the things that accidentally tripped me up and sent me down those rabbit holes were networking opportunities and friends who suggested that I take a fresh look at something. So I'm looking forward to getting into the conversation. And I think I will turn it over to Varda. Ladies first, David, sorry.
Thanks, Chris. Hi, everybody. This has been a really good morning, and I've been really impressed with some of the questions that you guys have asked, so I hope you'll continue that in our session. I'm Varda now, and I work for a company called Genesis 10, which is a technology consulting company. So we haven't really talked about consulting, but that's another great avenue for a career. We work with big companies like Best Buy, Delta, Amazon, Google. Those are some of our clients. And we help them put people, technology people, on different technology projects within their organization. So that's my job. And then I'm also involved in a lot of local networking groups like this one, the Large Venue Tech Collective, and MinTech, which some of you might be familiar with. I also co-founded a Women in IT or Women in Technology networking group with Jeanette and a couple other women that we know. So there are ways to network where you can start your own thing. So thanks again to the twins and Katie, you've done such a great job this morning and I'm really excited to be here. Thank you. David?
Good morning. My name is David Kingsbury. I'm the Director of IT for US Bank Stadium in downtown Minneapolis, home of the Vikings. I started there in 2015. So wrapped up construction and then switched into an operator role and helped run the building for the first 5 seasons of the Vikings. As many of you probably know, we hosted the Super Bowl and the Final Four were 2 big events that we had in the building. And then in addition to football, we do a number of other activities in the building. We host the high school football state championships every year. And then we have a number of other events, concerts, and we hosted 3 years of the Summer X Games with ESPN. And so we have had quite a lot of activity in that building up until the pandemic hit. So very interesting area, sports and entertainment to work in. We're very similar to a lot of the things you've heard with the twins today. And that's kind of how I got introduced into this group from a networking standpoint, was that we share a lot of the same technologies. And so we needed kind of a group of people in town that deal with those same challenges. And so that's how we got started. I know some of the other presentations have talked about kind of how you got into this and what your background was to get into these different types of roles. I actually started not in technology. I was originally interested in being an engineer. It's okay to try things out with different educational options. And if they don't work out, just switch. I ended up switching majors after the first year and transferred schools and went from engineering to more of a business focus. And then when I graduated with a bachelor's degree in business, then I just kind of learned that I really liked doing the technology things more than I did some of the finance and accounting things. So my initial degree was in finance and accounting, and then I switched and took a master's program at the University of Minnesota in management information systems. And then that kind of set me off on this course that got me into this industry today. And I'll wrap it up there and send it back to John.
All right, awesome. Really lucky to have all of you guys here today. Thank you for spending your time with us. Katie, if you would present, if you're able to present sort of our first word cloud question. And as you present it, I think what we'll do is we'll walk into the nature of our group. So the first question is, what word describes how you think about networking? And so while you're in high school, what does networking mean to you? And what that's going to do is it's going to help inform our group, where you're at. And don't be ready, if you will. I think everybody can unmute themselves at some point. We've been saying all morning, haven't heard one of your voices yet. So be ready to use your voice, and we might actually call on you. So go ahead and answer that question, and we'll continue. And as people are voting, hopefully, Katie, go ahead and continue to show answers come up as you did in the last with the last polling question, so we can see things building. Maybe Jeanette. So maybe describe what our group is, this large venue tech collective, and why are you a part of it, and how do you think it formed? Because every group has sort of a little bit of a beginning and an evolution. But what does that mean from your perspective?
Sure. I think that if memory serves me correctly, I want to say in 2015, perhaps, I was invited to a sports and entertainment conference to speak about some of the project work that we had done at Mall of America with our Wi-Fi. And there I was able to meet a whole bunch of my neighbors in a very strange place. I think it was Vegas, maybe. but was able to meet John. I can't remember, David, if I met you at the time or not. Certainly some of the other folks in the Twin Cities, and starting to just understand the value. I'm a pretty shy person by nature. And so it was interesting for me to suddenly be thrown into a world where everybody understood the same problems I was facing. And when we got back to the Twin Cities, we just found that there was so much alignment in the technology that we were using. We started to get together, and I think the Timberwolves hosted us a few times. John's hosted us a few times. David's hosted us, and just to be able to spend time together learning about the problems that each other's has. Oddly enough, I think I went to a vendor, like small kind of lunch and learn, and ran into Eduardo, who's the CIO for the Minneapolis airport. And we invited him to the group, and the rest of the team has continued to meet and pull in other people who contribute in such amazing ways. Certainly John and Varda have really been glue to that, pulling in more people and organizing things moving forward.
Maybe, Chris, talk about, so Varda introduced Chris Ross here to our group. Varda, how did you identify Chris as somebody that should participate? And then maybe Chris, talk about, here we're started with sports and entertainment, and how does the Mayo Clinic blend into that conversation?
Yeah, so this is a really good example of networking. So Chris and I have known each other for a number of years, and the Large Venue Tech Collective mostly have been comprised of people, technology leaders at large venues and professional sports organizations, Mall of America, museum, casino, airport. But when the pandemic hit, the conversation really pivoted to safety issues at large venues. How could we reopen safely, and other health related and safety issues? So I think there was a request from one of the team to get Mayo involved and hear the perspective from Mayo. And that's how, since I knew Chris and we're friends, that's how he connected in with our group.
And Chris, after you first joined and helped our group think about health and how this pandemic would affect our businesses and our facilities, and giving us more perspective than we ever had before, especially from your technology chair. Maybe talk about that as a starting point. But Chris, you continue to work with and be a voice in our small networking group. Maybe talk about what value do you give and what value do you get?
Yeah. Thanks, John. I'll be glad to. Honestly, I get more than I give, I think, but I'm trying my best. It is really a great group with, all sports teams, the museum, Mall of America, Mystic Lake, and so on. So the value for Mayo of me joining this group is every day and we've got locations in Rochester, across Minnesota and Wisconsin, and then 2 large hospitals in Phoenix, Arizona, and in Jacksonville, Florida, a small clinic in London, and a joint venture in Abu Dhabi. But just on our Rochester campus, which is our biggest, we get a Twins size attendance every day of the week. We get about 40,000 people will come into our facilities and they want to get there for care. If you cast your mind back to where we were in April and May of last year, and I think I joined this group just at the end of April, beginning of May, we didn't know how deadly the pandemic was going to be. We didn't know what precautions were necessary to keep people safe. So the things that the sports venues were thinking about around how do we gather tickets, how do we sell concessions, was really useful for us to think about how do we get people through the door. We don't have tickets at Mayo Clinic, but we needed to have checkpoints to make sure that, unauthorized visitors weren't coming and all that kind of stuff. So we learned a lot. In return, I was doing my best to get intelligence from my medical colleagues about, what was best practice and what did we really need to worry about the most, and what level of cleaning was really necessary to keep people safe. And boy, we were all thinking about things like these cameras that could detect someone's temperature. Was that a good predictor of whether someone had COVID or not? And, I was able to say we had a research group who looked at it, and here was both their viewpoints about the technology and around the medicine involved in it. So, that's just one example, but you could pick on anybody in this group around what did they bring to the table, and everyone had a new angle on that problem. And because we don't compete with each other, the words in the word cloud off to the left there really fit. That's what we've been doing with that group around not just meeting people, which is really important, but all the things around exchanging information. And I really like the phrase making the world better. That's what we were trying to do. We were trying to make the world safe.
David, our small group over the past year, since the pandemic happened, has met regularly. The Institute of Arts, the state of Minnesota CIO is a part of our group. We have a gentleman from Mystic Lake Casino in the Mall of Americas, and the airport is represented. And hearing all the voices from technology leaders in this sort of conversation, we've talked about working from home, as Chris mentioned, health technologies, cybersecurity, biometrics. Maybe talk about like one thing that resonated specifically with our group conversation with you, and then similarly, how how have you sort of participated, and then complicated question here, but also talk about the value of just openly discussing challenge and how that can help solve problems.
Yeah, I think the pandemic has really been challenging for everyone from a number of different perspectives. But for our group, we used to meet in person, and it was really a great opportunity to see different operations operate in real life, and we've kind of had to move all that virtual, which has created challenges and has really tested a lot of our technology stacks. But the ability to still communicate with other people, even though it's just sitting in front of a Zoom session like this, it has been, has really made the difference to help us get through this. I've kind of been thinking a little bit about the group of attendees here for this conference today, and that I can't imagine what you've gone through here the last year from a schooling standpoint of having to do all of this, virtual, with virtual classrooms and the challenges that it's created from an economic standpoint of what kind of job market are you looking at, what are the transitions going to be, to go to higher education options or to internships, and the pandemic's really touched on all of that. And it's been great to have perspectives from people like Chris to hear from the medical community. My wife works in healthcare as well, and has been very involved in managing pandemic related issues. And she's been out of her office for a year and a half now and probably won't go back. I don't know that they'll reopen their offices, and this may be an ongoing thing, moving into the future. And I have two daughters that are roughly the age of the attendees here too. And one's finished a 2-year program at Metro State, and the other's up in Duluth at UMD. And it's a whole different set of challenges, and being able to still continue to communicate and keep in touch with people and try to get through this. I mean, it's a very challenging thing outside of, talking anything specific about technology. This is just, general life. Getting through this pandemic has created a lot of challenges for people. And I think, the optimistic outlook here is that, I think when we get out of this on the other end, there's going to be an overabundance of opportunities for people in all different fields, but specifically in technology. I mean, I think that, our organization at the stadium, we had to furlough quite a bit of our staff. About 60% of our full-time staff was put on furlough, and it's a challenge that we've talked about in our group of trying to hire people that are interested in working at our organizations. And as we come out of this pandemic and the economy picks back up again and people start looking at opportunities, I think that groups like this are going to be very valuable in coming out of this.
All right, so now, thank you, David, and everybody. I think we're going to ask, since Chris brought up, if somebody could unmute themselves, identify themselves, who wrote "Making the World Better"? I don't know, Katie, is that possible for somebody to unmute themselves?
Yeah, they should be able to unmute themselves. So I actually wrote "Making the World Better" to test if the word cloud was working.
All right. So I might then maybe ask Hiroko Zalecki, and I apologize if I mispronounced your name. If you could maybe help us understand, what did you write here in this word cloud, and why did you write that word? Is
Hiroko, I wrote meeting people, connections, and collaborating.
Okay. Maybe as a now proud panel member, why those words?
Well, connections, I guess, because when I think networking, I just think people connecting. You might know them, you might not know them. I don't know.
Yeah, sometimes it takes a little bit of bravery to connect and say, hey, I'm open to asking you a question and meet you, right?
Yeah.
Okay. What high school do you go to, Hiroko?
I go to Open World Learning.
Cool.
It's in St. Paul.
Just using you as an example, our group here, is interested in helping you guys understand what we think is yet another topic, which is the value of networking. But we also recognize that all of you today, including you, Hiroko, are networking here as we speak, and we are participating actually in your network. So this conversation that we're having is about you guys today. Again, you guys are incredibly impressive, and we need you, and so we recognize so much opportunity in you. In fact, some of us would say, okay, if I could trade my position right now, Hiroko, with you have so much potential in your life right now that okay, you go ahead, be John Avenson. I'd rather be Hiroko, because I think you're going to have a lot of fun in your life. You can have whatever you want of mine. I just want to be you, because I know you have a fun future in front of you, especially based on your bio here. And that goes for really everybody in this group. Chris, would you trade positions with any of these folks here today?
Oh, golly, absolutely. The world looks so darn exciting, especially if you're interested in STEM and interested in the way that the world is moving. We've got these monumental challenges around climate change and around advancing our world, around addressing poverty systematically, around racial equity. I mean, my golly, there's so many challenging mountains to climb, but we got the tools for it. It's just, how are we going to get there? To me, I really, really like that. It's attributed as an African proverb, which is, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. And I think about that all the time. And fast is cool, but getting all the way there is what's really in front of us. So man, to be 20 again or 18 again, holy smokes. Yeah, I'd do a do-over.
Yeah, so one of the questions today was about hindsight to Rachel and to Andrea. And, even though all of you, don't have the benefit of hindsight, just think of your ability to have hindsight as if you did, and what decisions that you are capable of making as you guide your own future, the CEO of your own boardroom. You know, one of the other things that we're excited about networking with this group is the fact that you are fulfilling so much of what we need, and that is more diverse voices, more female voices, more you know, creative thinking and intelligent thinking. And so the fact that you're putting yourself in these positions, in this networking opportunity through aspirations is extremely encouraging to those of us who you would say we're in leadership positions, but we're also ready to follow you, okay? So, so Katie, if you could add the next word cloud poll question up there. And that is essentially defining, you know, some of your own curiosity. Think of yourself as that leader. And the question is, Katie will have it up here soon. What topic would you use to create a networking group? In our case, it's all about large venue conversation, and you know, we're all doing similar jobs, and you know, how do we work together to make ourselves in our organizations better and react? But when you answer that question, you know, name your favorite networking, name what topic would you create a networking group around? So hopefully, Katie, that question is ready. So the next amount of time here, whatever time we have left, I think we're going to just sort of generically give some examples of why we think networking is important, and some of this might be more underlining since you guys are already participating, but you know, why it's so important for you to engage, right? So when I work with different groups, and I'm a part of a lot of different groups, maybe sometimes I wonder if I'm a part of too many groups, but I like the people that are here today. So as long as I can hang out with them, I feel pretty good about myself. But when I'm talking to Jeanette or Chris or Varda or David, you know, I ask myself, am I paying attention to the right things? You know, what language are they using that surrounds technology or even business that I'm not using? Are they using new words? Are they using new methods? What is the language? So even in the breakout sessions, you guys were broadened, you know, by all kinds of different language, cybersecurity, data language, and so when I attend things like networking sessions, I engage my curiosity so that I can simply listen to the language and understand, okay, what am I missing? And then when I listen to some people like David or Chris or Vard or Jeanette, I ask myself, what are they leveraging that I'm not leveraging enough of? Chris operates at a larger scale than a lot of us do. And can I take this big, huge idea that Chris is implementing and bring it down to my scale and benefit my organization? So those are some of the things that I do when I go to events. Varda, you're a part of so many different groups. You know, why, you know, what are some of the fundamental reasons why you attend or network with people?
Yeah, so first of all, I've been looking at the answers and they're so awesome. And that was one of the points I was going to make is like, you do need to try out a lot of different groups before you really land on the ones where you want to spend your time. I think I've spent a lot of time attending things that I thought would be great and they aren't always the right fit for me. So I love seeing what people are saying here about like travel and fashion and music. And that's what I was going to encourage you all, if you weren't already involved in networking outside of technology, because I think that a lot of things connect. And the reason I like to network is I am curious about a lot of different things. I really like to meet people. I like to learn and problem solve. And it's amazing how like playing tennis for me helps me weirdly, in business, and, connecting with tennis players and networking with them will help me problem solve in a technology situation. So
Yeah, and what, how do you pick what networking group that you want to be a part of? You formed your own networking group.
Right.
Maybe that's a better example of why did you choose to form that group?
yeah, I mean, there's still a lot of opportunities to form new groups. Andrea, who you all heard speak this morning, also started a new networking group when she was working in New York for a couple of years, because she saw that there, shockingly, when you think of New York City, there wasn't a group of women leaders who were connecting and networking. So she started a group. It now has 450 members. So Jeanette and I and a couple others started this group because we wanted in an informal way for women to connect who are in technology at any level within their organization. So not just CIOs or top tech leaders, but people like Katie, who has just started her career in technology. So Jeanette, do you have anything to add on that?
I think, yeah, to John's point, and like Varda said, I mean, to be able to find something that fits really well, because I think as well, a lot of the things that I'd been exposed to at the mall were much more formal and structured, and in some cases, particularly, let's be honest, being a woman in tech, you get invited to a lot of golf tournaments, whiskey tastings, like all of these like guy things, right? That we weren't particularly interested in, and to be able to just have that personal connection, and to really meet friends, right? To be honest, these are really friendships that go deep. Not just collaboration on the tech side. And I think that's, what you were talking about, Varda, too, with, just being able to play tennis and, use your other interests with people. And I think it's, for me, it was networking was formal and intimidating, but getting together with friends is valuable. And, I treasure the time I get to spend with this group because they are my friends. And, so many of them mentioned, being able to see them during the pandemic, even virtually, was just tremendously, kind of inspiring to me.
Maybe Jeanette, since you're talking, just talk about the other sports and entertainment group that you and I are part of. When I attend, the sessions are good, but the valuable time is comparing notes in between sessions or even afterwards. Did you feel that is the same way? I mean, you can hear the topics, but the conversations are really what matters.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, anytime you're going to a seminar or conference, there's great information, but it's not at a personal level, right? And to be able to have those in-depth conversations about candidly failures, I think are one of the most valuable things that we're able to talk about. And 100 ways not to make a light bulb, because we're all trying to solve such similar problems, and we approach them differently. And I think that's where it's been just so valuable to have people like Chris and Eduardo and Douglas, who's now with the Met down in New York, and to be able to see the way that they approach problems in a completely different mindset than how people within my industry would have done so, really is inspiring. And I think that's where it's great to see the diversity of interests that you have. And I think, like Varda said, just strongly encourage you to continue to diversify yourself, and pursue a variety of interests, to whatever it is that you're passionate about.
Katie, I apologize. It did occur to me that I asked you to do the third question, but before we move from this question, David Kingsbury, pick one answer here that is interesting to you, and let's hear from our audience and their voice to find out, so pick one, David.
Well, it's hard to pick one. I mean, I'm looking at this, and what's interesting to me is that, a lot of these areas are areas that typically have clubs that form in both high school and in college. So, that's obviously a very immediate option available, I think, to a lot of the people in our audience today, which is great. I mean, there are definitely clubs and organizations that kind of form around a lot of these different areas. So maybe, robotics is in the middle, so maybe someone could talk about robotics.
Yeah, volunteer, be brave with your curiosity and talk about why would you form a networking group around robotics. Anybody want to volunteer? If not, we will pick. Natalie Fisher, which did you raise your hand about robotics? And if not, which one did you write down?
I did not talk about robotics, but the thought hadn't occurred to me. Otherwise, I probably would have put it down. I actually put down the engineering, aerospace engineering. That's always kind of interested me, the space stuff, especially like how the military uses engineering to make planes completely like silent and jets. I think that's really cool. But I've always thought robotics was also cool. So
the one thing, Natalie, about that is I remember Andrea this morning talking about while she was in some beginning career moments, she actively looked for people to have conversations about Target in that case. And so even though you're probably not working for an aerospace company, there are probably networking groups that you can reach out to and say, I am a high school student and I want to sort of at least listen to the language that you guys are using surrounding this subject. And if anything, use that as a litmus test to help you understand, okay, is that a path? Is that literally how my career will take off into a 30,000 foot level as a aerospace engineer? So for those of you that are listening to the question, use your answer and do some research if you haven't already to think about, okay, is there a career path or is there a networking group that solves poverty with tech? And let me go find that out. And let me say, hey, I want to be a part of that. I know that we're running a little bit out of time and we could continue to talk about this, but David, I wanted to kind of underline something that you brought up. Thank you, Natalie, for using your voice. David, about how you can literally get free education from networking, is especially related to engineering. One of the groups that I'm a part of, one of their slogans is "The answer is in the room," and that's the Twin Cities CIO group. And I like that slogan, but I'm more of a fan of questions than answers. It's almost like the good questions are in the room. But David, maybe talk about different networking groups and how this group can use those and leverage them to, frankly, get free learning.
Yeah, this is the area that I was actually really excited to talk about today, because the Twin Cities is especially blessed with a number of local groups that offer different networking opportunities that are either free or very low cost. And that we've talked about groups like MinTech, and you mentioned Twin Cities CIO group. There's another group called MinStar that's in town that hosts annual mini bar conferences where people can just volunteer to talk about any topic that they want to talk about. It's in the pre-pandemic, it was hosted at the Best Buy headquarters on a Saturday, either once or twice a year, I can't remember. And people would just talk about whatever they want to go talk about, and then meet in the hallways afterwards and discuss those topics further, which are a great way to meet people and to learn about different things for free. Along those same lines, if you're interested in things like web publishing, there's a lot of user groups in town that you can find to learn, that in the past, obviously did in-person sessions and user group meetings. A lot of that is virtual now, but I participate developing websites in WordPress, and they have what they call WordCamps, and those are all over the world. And that's, WordPress is an open source project that people volunteer their time, and there's a great network of people that you can be introduced to through that. And then before I move on to the conferences, the other thing I wanted to mention too that I found personally very valuable is use social media to your advantage. And so certain platforms are better than others at that, but I found Twitter in particular, that if you're interested in a particular area like aerospace engineering, do some research on who those experts are in that field and see if they have a Twitter account, and then follow them. It's something you can do free. It's something that I've used in many of the different industries that I've worked in over my career. Find out who those experts are in your industry and just follow them and read what they say, and read the words that they use, and find out about opportunities and news in that field. It's a great resource to use. And then lastly, as John mentioned, conferences right now, that's another benefit that's come out of the pandemic, is that a lot of the technology annual conferences, user conferences or developer conferences from companies like Apple and Microsoft and Cisco and Amazon, all of those things haven't been meeting in person for the last year. And prior to the pandemic, those might have been, a $5,000 trip and conference fee to join. And almost all of those companies are offering that stuff free right now. And so you can just go and sign up and register. They don't care if you're a student, if you're a professional, if you've got a job or not got a job. You can sign up and learn all of this stuff. I just personally, I've taken an interest in learning about AWS and Amazon's cloud services. A lot of that stuff, you can sign up for free accounts, and you can like fire up a free virtual server and just play around and learn some of those things. And they all have support forums that all have volunteers that are willing to help you learn different things. And that's just, to me, that's been invaluable. And it's been a really great opportunity, and one of the more positive things to come out of the pandemic, in my opinion.
So thank you, David. That's pretty awesome. Great advice, pretty incredible advice, especially for even somebody like me. Great examples. Just taking advantage of the virtual world that we live in, and the accessibility has changed. And another reason why older people like us want to be you is because we see the excitement and the change that you guys will enact. Whether it's aerospace engineering or artificial intelligence or neuroscience or anything that you guys are interested in, hopefully today you've taken away at least some thoughts about how, again, your superpower. My superpower is creativity, or not creativity, curiosity, and your interest and your drive, and how you are building common denominator skill sets will propel you into directions that you're not sure about yet, and that's okay that you're not sure about where you're going to end up. That's actually kind of exciting to this group. This group would think that that's exciting. And so your nervousness is a symptom of how committed you are to your direction. And we're all very excited about it. We wish we had more time with you. We wish we were in a room with you to meet you personally. But we are going to get out of the way so that we can sit back and understand how you are going to continue to be recognized here by Katie and Russell. A privilege to be with you today. Thank you, Varda and David and Jeanette and Chris, for being a part of the conversation. Let's all be high school students again. Age is an attitude, but you guys are about ready to have the time of your life. So congratulations.
Yay, that was so awesome. Thank you for a great panel. I always learn so much hearing all these things, and like eventually you hear these things over and over and over again, and It like really sticks with you. So I hope you've gotten a lot out of today so far. Now that you've learned a ton, we're going to recognize you and learn from you all. So what's going to be happening is I'll be saying your name and high school, and then you're going to be spotlighted and you'll get to say your superpower and your boundless possibility. So it will be very fun. And then Russ will be spotlighting you. I think, Russell, do you have the ability to do that?
I do.
Yay, awesome. Okay, let me share my screen and get the show rolling. I have so many windows up. Sometimes I get a little lost. Here we go. Okay. Let me share my screen. Let's see. And then present. Yay. Okay, can you all see it? I'm gonna go with yes. Okay, so let's get started. The first few are always takes a little bit. So feel free to do a round of applause in your participant Zoom screen, or say congratulations in the chat. And then thank you so much for all the parents who were able to come. So let's get going. So our first award winner is Fatuma Abdi. She's a sophomore at Thomas Edison Senior High School. So
But Fatuma is not with us today.
oh, all right, sounds good. No worries. Our next award winner is Romani Arunachalam, and she's a junior at Rosemount High School.
And yeah, Romani is unable to join us as well.
No worries. All right, Sophie Davis, junior at St. Louis Park High School.
All right, Sophie, we're going to find you just a second here.
You can start talking too. And the two things to say are your boundless possibility and your superpower.
And Sophie has been with us. Sophie, are you still with us? Sophie might have needed to leave.
No worries. We will get there. All right. All right. Jezebel DeMays, she's a freshman at Spectrum High School in Elk River.
Yep, and Jezebel was unable to join us today.
No worries. I should have taken attendance like we did last week. All right. Aditi Ebuganti. She's a sophomore at Wayzata High School.
Go Aditi, and she also was unable to join us.
Everyone's at the top of the list. All right, Natalie Fisher, I see you. You're a sophomore at Spectrum High School in Elk River.
So for the boundless possibility, how should I start with that again?
Yeah, like what is your boundless possibility? So for me, my boundless possibility is making the world better through doing outreach and getting more women in tech. And I'd say my superpower is kindness. So that's my example. So what is it for you?
I think my boundless possibility would be to get involved as a woman in the space program, and just learn more about engineering. I think that's what I want to do. And then my superpower, I think, is, I don't want to say kindness, but I was going to say that, or curiosity. I like to ask questions and find out more about things.
Yay, yes, kindness. There can never be too much kindness or curiosity. So thank you, Natalie. Congratulations. Okay.
I'm sorry, Natalie, I was just having a little hard time finding you in my list. I found you, and I'm going to spotlight you, and so you can at least wave to the crowd. There you are, Natalie. You are live. Thanks so
Hi.
much. Thanks so much, Natalie. So sorry about my delay here, but took a while to find you in my list.
No worries. Thank you.
You bet.
Right. Our next award winner is Abriana Hansen. So she's a sophomore from Lincoln High School in Thief River Falls.
I would say my boundless possibility is just really innovating and working with AI. That's sort of what I've been interested in. And I guess my superpower is just sort of knowing myself, knowing what I want to do, sort of the confidence in that.
Yay, congratulations. No, that is a superpower and congratulations.
Congratulations is right.
All right. Our next award winner is Annika Hayi. She's a sophomore from Belgrade Bhutan High School. So Annika.
And I believe she's in the room, or at
You
least.
might be on mute too.
I'm not sure if I still see her in the room.
Oh, she could have hopped off. All right, well, we will head on to our next winner, Jacqueline Lee from Mounds View High School.
So my boundless possibility is to get more people, especially girls, involved in robotics. Especially, I do that at the moment through, I'm in the robotics program, FCC, and my superpower is creativity. With my creativity, it can help me problem solve, especially with the challenges that come with being in robotics.
Congratulations, Jacqueline.
I'm just trying to find you in my list here. There you are. Thank you. Great.
I made it look easy last week, Russ.
I guess so.
No, yeah, Jacqueline, thank you so much for sharing. First is awesome.
Wonderful to have you.
So, all right. Bianca Morcho, senior at South High School in Minneapolis.
And yeah, Bianca appeared to be here at the beginning. Let's see if Bianca's still here. Bianca, come on down if you're here. And I'm thinking Bianca may have needed to leave as well.
All right, no worries. We are over halfway done already with our award winners. So Claire Morges, junior at Spectrum High School.
Claire, are you still here with us? I'm thinking I'm not seeing her on our list either, Katie.
No worries.
I don't believe she was here.
Okay.
Yep.
Sounds good. All right. Grace Noling Morgan, senior at Alexandria Area High School.
There she is.
I guess my boundless possibility would be to help protect our lakes and rivers in Minnesota with the help of technology, possibly. And my superpower would be I would say, investigative skills. And I only say that because I'm pretty good at escape rooms.
Nice. Congratulations. Yes, escape rooms are awesome. And yes, thank you. All right, Caroline Peterson from a freshman at Spectrum High School.
So my superpower would be using creativity, and then my boundless possibility would be to make more technology to advance the medical field.
Yes. Oh my gosh, that is a huge boundless possibility. Congratulations. All right, Fiona Shand, junior at Edina High School.
Hi, I'm Fiona Shand. I would say that my boundless possibility is world travel, and my superpower is making connections with other people.
Wow, congratulations, Fiona. So you should have been on our networking panel earlier. Thank you so much and congratulations. All right, Emily Springer, freshman from Southwest High School.
My boundless possibility would just be getting more girls into like STEM and coding through robotics first. And I guess my superpower would be like curiosity, always wanting to learn more.
Yes, that is awesome. We definitely have that in common. Congratulations, Emily. All right, Amy Tang, freshman from Apple Valley High School.
My boundless possibility is to get people interested in STEM through robotics, and my superpower is being motivated.
Yay! Oh my goodness, I could use that superpower of being motivated sometimes, especially during the last few weeks of the school year. So congratulations, Amy. Natalie Whitehead, sophomore at the Math and Science Academy.
Hi, my name is Nohani. My boundless possibility is to continue pursuing my passion to help others around the world. And my superpower is being resilient and moving towards challenges heart first.
Yes. Oh my goodness. All of your boundless possibilities are so inspiring. Congratulations. And let's see, Ashley Viller, sophomore from John Marshall High School.
Yeah, and Ashley is unable to join us today.
No worries. All right. Kaylin Walters, freshman at Spectrum High School.
My boundless possibility would probably be working with tech and natural sciences, and my superpower would be leadership.
Yay. Oh my goodness. Congratulations. That is so cool. All right. Natalie Whitehead, junior. Did I already say Natalie? Or yeah, oh, perfect. There you go, Natalie, from Waconia High School. Take it away.
I said that my superpower is that I'm a quick adapter and problem solver, and I can like catch on to new things pretty easily. And for my boundless possibility, I said that I want to be able to help people who struggle with technology and just to get more females involved with tech.
Oh my goodness, congratulations. Yes, those are awesome. All right. And Hiroku Zelki, freshman at Open World Learning Community.
Hi. I haven't really thought much about boundless possibility. I don't know. Not really tech related, but like just in general, I guess I'd like helping like get access to like diverse collections of books. I don't know. And superpower, I guess I'm pretty creative.
Yes. Oh my goodness, that is so cool. And yes, creativity is such a superpower, especially today. And yeah, that is everybody. Let me know if I missed anybody in the chat. I'm pretty sure we got to everybody. And I'm gonna pass it over to Shelly to give us some final words. And I also want to get a screenshot of everybody. So if everyone could turn their cameras on real quick and smile big, we'll get a quick screenshot before we hear from Shelly. Looks like we're still waiting for a couple more people
A
to
few
turn
more
on.
cameras if you can.
All right, let's see. All right, everybody smile big. I'm gonna have to do 2 screenshots, so it's gonna take me a second. Okay. There's one. There's yours too. All right, let's see. There we go. That is saved. So thank you so much for letting me MC today, everybody. I had a ton of fun, and thank you for putting up with any technical difficulties we had. But we're gonna pass it over to Shelly, and then Russ. Also, do you have the survey link?
I do. Let me search for that quickly while Shelley is commenting. And then for honorees, the survey link is for you. Everyone else will get to relax, but we need your input before you depart today, before you leave this space today and go into this beautiful day. So let me go grab that up and I'll put it in chat. Just a sec.
Perfect. Yeah, and then just post when you're done in the chat. So awesome. Shelly, take it away.
Hey, Katie, could you share the word cloud from the Boundless Possibilities question, please?
Yes, absolutely. 1 second, let me grab that. All right, I found it. There we go. Let me just share my screen. There you go.
Perfect, Katie. I just want to say congratulations to all our award winners. We really wouldn't be here today without all of you. I think John, Katie, myself, and Russell have had a really fun time thinking about what boundless possibilities mean. And now that I look at your boundless possibilities on the screen, it just shows, it actually pulls together my boundless possibility, where I always think of what I can do is bring more women into tech, and looking at all of you and looking at your boundless possibility, we're getting there. I am so excited for the future of tech, to see all of you and what you're going to do. I just want a couple quick takeaways. I'm not going to add anything more to all the things that you've been told today. The one thing that I kind of wrote down all through the morning was, I wrote down 5 ways to be everything you want to be. I think that's kind of the takeaway that I got from today. Be brave with your curiosity, be intentional, be kind, and last but not least, be your authentic self. I really believe that the future, I saw a t-shirt recently that said the future is female, and looking at you and looking at your boundless possibilities, I truly do believe that. So congratulations again, and I can't wait to see where you end up. And then on a housekeeping note, I have to say none of this would be possible without all of our sponsors. There are a lot of sponsors that work behind the scenes. It's not just the Minnesota Twins. I think Katie will bring that slide back up again. There's a lot of people who do work behind the scenes, the sponsors, the volunteers, and thank you to all of them. And thank you to all of our speakers who, from the Twins and from our networks and our friends, who are able to come and support a project of ours from the Twins to support these young women. I think that's all that I have. And to Russell's point, make sure you finish your survey before you leave. I know it is really important as we plan events for the future to know what you think of the event, what we could have done better, what sessions you would like to see in the future.
Shelley, if I could comment, Russ Frankel here. I'm with the Minnesota State IT Center of Excellence. We've been involved with the Aspirations in Computing Awards program for nearly 10 years. And for the group to know that this is affiliated with the National Center for Women in Information Technology, we love that connection. And I want to share with the group that Minnesota is considered the gold standard of how an affiliate operates when it comes to working with young people to get into the information technology pipeline. And so for those of you that are in attendance, that are honorees, if you're still in high school, are going to be next year, we ask you to reapply. Keep applying, keep stretching for that boundless possibility of another award level, continuing to have opportunities for mentorships, for a paid internship position, for a job shadow, for a variety of ways that you can network and beginning to build your career portfolio. Keep taking classes, keep reaching, stretching yourself. Wear that t-shirt that you got that says Women in Tech, Equal Boundless Possibilities. Wear it proudly. You've earned it. Encourage your friends to get involved. Just keep learning. I will say I'm one of the older people in the room. I love being around young people, just like John was saying earlier, because you are the inspiration. You are the future. And we just want to encourage you to keep reaching for it. Do it with confidence. As someone said earlier, one of our speakers, Andrea, may have said this, is fail forward, right? Just keep moving and going. So with that, I want to thank Shelly Andrew in particular. I want to thank John Avenson. I want to thank the Minnesota Twins and everyone, all the cast of characters that they pulled together today for this really special event. Do take a few minutes to complete your survey. And as you've done that, as you leave the screen, we know that you've completed your survey. Parents, thanks for coming. And maybe some music, Katie, to kind of polish off the day.
You bet.
Thanks so much, Katie, for your involvement. Yay.
Thank you, Russ, for your involvement. We wouldn't be here without you. You're right. Minnesota's #1. All right, let me get some tunes for us.
If all of the kings had their queens on the throne, we would pop champagne and raise a toast to all